to the Miami Heat Zone podcast. We're pushing to 6,000 subscribers. Guys, I have the man, the myth, the legend. Listen, we have Daryl back on the pod. I know that you guys want him to make a YouTube channel, but we have Coach Daryl in the building. Daryl, how are you today?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. So today the Miami Heat, even though it wasn't a huge win, but we did see Kelel Ware and Bam Adebayo play. Finally, they were even on the court with each other for more than 10 seconds. So what did you think about the overall game? And I know that you've been one of the biggest cheerleaders in terms of pretty much cooking Spo when he's not putting out the right rotations.
Oh, absolutely, man. It's I said it before the game. We're playing a guy. It's what 7-4, something like that. And I saw the lineup, and I was, what are you doing? And it was just you look at the constant mistakes of you take the first quarter, for example. They were playing box and one on Tyler. Where, if you don't know what that is, they just put a guy who's basically on man and the other four are playing zone, and then they send a chaser, whichever side of the zone chases them, so they can double team him at all times. And he literally made no adjustments to it at all. So he took Tyler out a bunch of times trying to get out of it. Like, you're not getting out of it. You got to do something to freaking change the flow of what's happening. And the moment he brought in Ware, everything changed. And the reason it changed is because you can't play boxing when you got two big guys in there. So, because if you're going to double Tyler, then you're leaving Duncan open, because you have to respect the two bigs. And that's just where I'm at with him. It's the same stuff over and over again with him. He just makes bad mistakes that everybody talks about. He's this greatest coach. You can't make these kind of mistakes over and over again. I mean, it's 40 games before we've seen this. It's freaking ridiculous. But I was super excited. I didn't get to watch the second half. I was just listening on the radio. I was driving to work. But I was just watching. I think Tyler had 2 or 4 points in the first half. And the moment they came back with that lineup in the third, I think Tyler had 7 in like 2 minutes. I heard Duncan with 2 threes. Like, automatically it opened up the shooters. And that's exactly what the two big lineup will do. We've been begging for another defender. The moment you do that, now you get to put Bam on the other defender, and you don't have to worry as much. Now you can play high-low. There's so many things you can do with that lineup. It's just criminal that it's taken this long. And I know they're going to go to we developed and we've been working on it. That's all bullshit, dude. This is literally, the noise has gotten so loud. And I said this early in Spaces. I actually think this guy, he's such a freaking criminal. I think he actually waited till everything got so crazy with the Jimmy stuff that everybody's focused on that. He's like, I'll slip it in there. So now people can't kill me for the fact that I haven't played this kid in 40 games. So that's where I'm at with it. I hope they continue with it. And you watch, I think this will set off the guards big time.
Yeah, that's what they drafted him for. They said that they wanted Kelel Ware to play with Bam Adebayo, and it's like what you said. When you have Kelel Ware, which he's going to make mistakes, but he brings the athleticism, he brings the shot blocking, the rim protection that this Miami Heat team drastically needs. So this is game 2 with Jimmy Butler so far. What did you think about the first game with him back and with him coming back tonight again?
It's what I think. They got to get rid of him. He clearly doesn't want to be here. I don't want him here. And I think the team's tired of him, to be honest with you. It's very hard in a team sport to deal with stuff like that. And he can sit up there all he wants and talks about, I'm not mad at the players. That's all bullshit. I've said this a million times. Jimmy Butler's a mercenary, and just like any mercenary or a hitman, when you hire that, it's exactly that. You hire them for one job and then you move on. And if you're not going to continue paying that hitman, then you get rid of him quickly, because imagine hiring a hitman and not paying him. What do you think is going to happen? He's going to tear apart your organization. And at this point, he's just doing it out of spite. He doesn't even care anymore. He's such a child that he just wants everything to burn, no matter what. He's just that kind of person. So, he's out there. He's playing. He's trying not to get fined. It's whatever. I'm ready to move on and just get him off the team.
Yeah, but it's almost like, what is the real beef? Because at the same time, 1 minute he's saying, oh, well, it's not my teammates. But then at the same time, as we've all seen, his teammates have been trying to get him engaged, even, pre-game, jumping around with him. close to the end of the game, he just doing this soft clap on the bench. So it's like if you're saying that it's not about your teammates and it's really about the front office, why would you quit on your teammates? You know what I'm saying? And the biggest thing that I feel like people don't realize, Pat Riley never said he wasn't going to pay Jimmy. All he told Jimmy is, why don't you just wait till the end of the season and then we could talk money. But when you really think about it, $52 million next season, there's no other team right now that's going to give that to Jimmy Butler, not only because of the new CBA, but these terrible teams, they're not going to use all their cap space on Jimmy Butler. It's just not going to happen. They're not going to just, give us just random assets when you have to make the money work. You have the new CBA. So with all that being said, it's like I just don't understand why he had to overblow this, because I don't really think him and his agent thought this through. Because him going to Phoenix all comes down to Bradley Beal. That's like half the battle already. And then now you're going to need 4 to 5 different teams to agree on a multi-team deal where everyone gets their way. It's almost impossible to get something like that done.
Everybody touches on the fact that Jimmy Butler wants to go to Phoenix, which is not entirely true, by the way. But does anybody actually think about Bradley Beal? Like, this guy is literally basically telling another team to ruin that guy so that he can get there. I mean, this guy, whatever, if you like his contract or not, it doesn't matter, right? He signed his contract. He got Washington to do it. Whatever. That's fine. That's what he's traded for. He's in a better place. Jimmy Butler has made it so another player is basically being forced out of his situation because of what Jimmy Butler wants. And you think Jimmy Butler gives a shit about anybody on this team? Like, people show you who they are, bro. Jimmy Butler has been showing you who he is for years. Jimmy Butler has a problem with certain players and what they make and do they feel more important? Jimmy Butler's a child. We all know Jimmy Butler's upbringing. He doesn't have a lot of father figures around there to teach him this stuff. I mean, whatever. But he's done the same thing everywhere he's gone. He went. Listen, I don't like Cat either. Okay, don't get me wrong, but he trashed Cat, called him soft. But what was that about? That was about the fact that they gave Cat $260 million. He went to Philly. What was he pissed about? He's pissed because they paid Ben Simmons and they paid Tobias Harris. Like, this is about money, and everything that comes out of his mouth, he contradicts everything. Listen, when Jimmy Butler signed here, he said he didn't want to play past 35. When he signed here, he said he didn't want another contract. He got an extension off of that, and now he wants more money. So why don't you go back to that where you talked about all that stuff? He's just not a man of his word. And listen, people that want to kill Pat, I think they're retarded. Did Pat screw up? Yes, Pat screwed up. The problem what Pat did is that as Pat has gotten older, I don't think Pat's senile. I don't think he's asleep. I think he's gotten sentimental. And unfortunately, Jimmy Butler is the type of person that you want to fall in love with because you love all the aggressiveness and you love the heart and that kind of stuff. The problem is what he is in that hitman status and that mercenary style that he is off the court, you don't love. Pat got sentimental, wanted to keep this player. The problem is you made a deal with the devil. And the moment he decided to come out, which, by the way, Jimmy Butler said, I love it here because I want the accountability. I want the tough love. He was searching for that, that father figure kind of thing. That's what he wanted. And the moment Pat did it to him publicly, all of a sudden it's like, now I'm going to make a mockery of this place. So did Pat screw up? Yes, he screwed up because he should have never had the meeting. He should have just gone through the meeting, called Tyler Fragile, all that other stuff, said, hey, we're going to work behind the scenes to work on some other stuff, and traded his ass right there. That's the only thing he did to screw up. At this point, every goddamn thing that has gone on has been Jimmy Butler. But you've got a lot of these people out there that are in love with Jimmy Butler because they got the jersey and they've only been watching, Heat basketball for 5 or 6 years, and that's all they know. And I get it. But if you really look back and you really know the person, it's not that hard to figure out, man.
Yeah, I mean, just look at last year, maybe 2 years ago when Jimmy Butler pretty much he was about to fight Spo and UD on the side of the line. I mean, right, pretty much right, in the middle of the game. So
no, he was about to fight Spo. He was about to get his ass kicked by UD.
I know a lot of people will say, oh, well, Pat Riley, he shouldn't have said that. Fine, you can argue and debate that, but that was really nothing. Like I said, when you have Udonis Haslem and Jimmy Butler going at it mid-game, and all Spo said was, that's another day in Miami, and we never heard anything like that ever again. So you're telling me that we can't get past this? And all he said is, listen, all Pat pretty much said is, don't speak on teams and you're not on the court. I feel like a lot of people are blowing the whole, shut your mouth thing. I think they're blowing it out of proportion. Like they don't know who Pat Riley is. So
Of
I
course,
just
if
think
it
that
fits their narrative, it fits their narrative, Martel.
yeah,
They
man.
want it, they want to hate Pat because younger generation or the young Gen Zs or whatever, they don't like authority. Like if you look at today, like you look at these people, people don't even go to work anymore. They make money on their phones. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't want authority. They don't want to have that structure. They want to be freelancers and that kind of stuff. So when you've got an older guy out there that's successfully run business for this long, they don't want to hear that shit. And that's fine, but it doesn't make you right. Like this guy has been a pillar and a legend, and his track record speaks. Like, how are you going to sit here and you're going to talk about Jimmy Butler's track record for the Heat, and then you're going to dismiss Pat Riley's? Like, you realize how stupid that sounds? Like he made a mistake because he got sentimental, and I got it. And you know what? They know they fucked up, and I get it. Why do you think they're taking the stance that they're taking? At the end of the day, they're going to pressure him. They're going to get him off this team. I know it's not what everybody's going to want, and everybody's going to trash what they get for him. But Pat didn't trash him. Jimmy Butler is submarining his own value in spite of the Heat. The only reason he wants Phoenix is because Phoenix has no choice. They're either paying Bradley Beal or they're paying Jimmy Butler, and they think Jimmy Butler is probably a better option to win. If they weren't in that same predicament that every other team would be, they wouldn't be asking for Jimmy Butler either. So at the end of the day, Jimmy Butler is going to screw himself. Jimmy Butler is going to be forgotten in 2, 3 years when he's out of the NBA because nobody's going to want to deal with him. And he's not going to make the money. He's going to end up just like James Harden, bro. Just like James Harden. Forgotten, whatever. You're a malcontent. Move on. The Miami Heat will still be the Miami Heat well after Jimmy Butler leaves.
So you were right about the starting lineup in terms of starting Bam and Adebayo. What other changes do you want to see going forward with this Miami Heat team?
Everybody's picking the Tyler Duncan, um, currently Jimmy Ware Bam. I wouldn't go that route. I would go with Jovic over Duncan, um, because I'm looking at now and I'm looking for the future. In the next couple of weeks, Jimmy Butler's going to be gone. Um, One of my other gripes with Spo is that he goes to these lineups where he puts all these four ball handlers on the floor, where he puts Rozier, JJJ, Jovic, freaking Tyler, and then one of the centers. And everybody's like, well, where did Tyler go? Well, when you have four guys that want to do four different things on offense, how do you get the other guy involved? All you need on the floor at any given time is two ball handlers so that they can initiate the offense. If Tyler gets doubled, he can pass to Jovic. And then he can work around whatever defense is happening to get the ball back. Because I think we all know we want the ball in Tyler's hands, right? But if Jovic has to pass it to Terry, and then Terry dribbles for 10 seconds, and then he passes it to JJJ, and he dribbles for 10 seconds, it's bad offense. So, in my opinion, I would go with Jovic. I would leave Duncan, because this is just starting to set up more like the Golden State offense that I wanted to see, where they go big early, wear a team down, and then when they go to their bench, then you bring in your shooters and you run them out of the gym, just like we saw today. That's exactly what happened. So I would put Duncan on the. I'm not saying that Duncan can't work, because it can work. I just don't think it's optimal to work. I would rather have Jovic, because Jovic already has a connection with Ware. Tyler already has a connection with Bam. So you're not fighting through all these different styles of offense. You're just saying, hey, when you get the ball, work your side. And that's the beauty of having two bigs, because now you can split the bigs. You can put them on different sides of the court. You can do inverted. You can go high low. There's a lot of things you can do. Like, I mean, look at all the look. Tyler's been giving lobs to Ware, right? Okay. He's got who setting a pick for him? Terry or JJJ? Well, now when you have Bam to set a pick for you and get downhill, and Ware sitting in the slot, it's a much cleaner play. So that's the way I would go until they acquire a couple other pieces, and then we see how that shakes out, and fit them into the lineup. But I want Jovic as a starter.
Got you. So now, where do you see the Miami Heat pretty much long term? Because once we trade Jimmy Butler, we'll see what we can get in return. And I know a lot of people, we really got to temper the expectations. Obviously, we're not going to get some all star or anything like that. I don't think the Miami Heat can really do that. They already said that they don't want to take on any long term salary, but then at the same time, they want win now players. I still think that the East is weak. I mean, pretty much outside of the Boston Celtics, I really don't fear anyone else. Cleveland, I think they're fraudulent. And then after that, I mean, Philly, I don't think that Joel Embiid's pretty much ever coming back. Or say that he does come back. I just don't see that team really being competitive enough when they're losing games just like us. So once we trade Jimmy, like where do you see this Miami Heat roster going forward?
The big stuff that we were hoping to get is gone, and thanks to Jimmy for that. What I would be doing is positioning myself for the next year and two. We know basically they want cap space for 26. I don't think that means they're punting on 25, 26 season. I just think that you have to start acquiring players that are available for that you're going to keep long term, right? So, if you just look, obviously, I think where Bam and Tyler are guaranteed future starters, right? So you have to just look at it. What do you need? What you need is another scorer, and what you need is another defensive player. Whether you get that scorer at the one or the three, I don't care. If you get the defender at the one or the three, I don't care. So, for example, if I could clear Jimmy out and I could get, see, I think what they've been trying to do is they've been trying to force Jimmy to open up his teams, because there are other teams that want him. I know this for a fact. So, take Memphis for example. Would I wanted more before, but you're not going to get it. But if I could get Marcus Smart in some of the picks and then filler, would I do that? Absolutely, because Marcus Smart is the perfect type of defensive point guard that you put next to Tyler. And then you may not get the scorer this year, but you're 4 out of the 5, right? So if I can keep Jovic, then I keep Jovic at that 3, and that's a good lineup for me. I'm big, I'm versatile, I'm defensive. I've got, I don't have the amount of scoring I'd like, but I can deal with that later. If I can get to the summer and I could get, for example, I go to Houston and I get like Atari Eason, I can put him at the 3, and then it's not exactly what I want, but then I can wait for the summer to see what Fox does. Because if Fox doesn't get traded now and he gets to the summer, he holds all the cards. So I'm just looking for the positions that I want for the future and what the team needs. And I don't want to get these, I don't want any of these 35-year-old veterans, 32, 33s. At this point, you need to be on the Bam timeline. I'm not saying you're building around Bam, because you're not. You're building around Tyler, but they got to basically be, 28 and below is what I'm looking for. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. So Daryl, once again, thank you for coming on the shows. Guys, I brought him back. Where can they find you, Daryl, on Twitter?
I am the herdsman of sheep on Twitter. You'll find me. I'm usually cursing out somebody, but yeah, I'm on Twitter. I don't do anything. I just come here to help you out, Martel.
Thank you again, guys. Make sure that you guys go to Daryl's Twitter, like, share. Make sure that you guys show him some love, and maybe you guys can convince him to start a YouTube channel. And thank
Nah.
you guys for all the support.